Alright, Shalom.
Shalom.
First and foremost, we like to begin this lesson by giving all glory, all honor, and all praises unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Rucha Kodash, Barakatam, giving double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of great millstone who surely do rule well. To the men standing by the highways and byways pushing this doctrine, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
And even unto the sincere Akwati sisters who sit listening to these lessons in silence, subjection, and obedience unto their husbands, we like to say Shalom.
Shalom.
And there are a couple of brothers say, Wa Maya Shala. And we come to do is to continue our 4-part series detailing and discussing the weapons of the Lord. First weapon we would have discussed in part 1, first category of weapon that the Lord has as angels. We'd have went into that in part 1. Now we seek to do part 2, in which we go into the Lord's chariots. This is the book of Isaiah 66, and we're going to read from verses 14. And when ye see this, your heart shall rejoice, and your bones shall flourish like an herb, and the hand of Yahweh shall be known toward his servants, and his indignation toward his enemies. For, behold, Yahweh will come with fire, and with his chariots like a whirlwind, to render his anger with fury, and his rebuke with flames of fire. For by fire and by his sword will the Lord Yahweh plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. So what? Weapons of the Lord. Second category discussing are his chariots. And one thing that we had to discuss when dealing with these chariots is the fact that we see these chariots every day, actually. Now, when you look up in the sky and you see something like a star moving, and it's like a white little dot in the sky, and it's moving, people like to tell you that it's shooting stars, and you just even see them, you just call them beamers. You see them like shooting stars, where they just pitch across the sky, and sometimes you might see the white light going behind it, like a beam issuing from it. You might see that. You might see they just see the normal star just moving across the sky. What people like to tell you is that it's either satellites or that is shooting stars. But they are not any of those things. If you could pull out the book of go ahead.
Is Matthew.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. And they saw his timepiece. That is more 1 or chapter 2? 2?
Yeah. The book of Matthew chapter 2 and verse 1. Now when Yahushua was born in Bethlehem of Judea,
Right.
in the days of Herod the king, behold, there came wise men from the east to Jerusalem, saying, where is he that is born King of the Jews? For we have seen his star in the east, and are come to worship him. Oh, go on, eh? Another piece of how to read real quick. Right here. Verse 9, jumping on to verse 9. And when they had heard the king, they departed, and lo, the star which they saw in the east went before them, till they came and stood over where the young child was.
So what is that star referencing to or speaking about?
So that number 1 verse 10. When they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding joy.
So what is that star speaking about? That star is actually speaking about a chariot. And how, so go ahead.
Because two things. One, two things there, this can never be talking about the actual star, because one, in the book of Sirach, I believe it is, I can't remember which chapter, but it's the stars and them standing the watch. I think it's Psalm 43. Let me get that real quick.
Yeah, go Sirach 43 from verses, let me see.
Verse,
Read from verses 6.
It's chapter 1, verse 6. Made the moon also to serve in a season for a declaration of times, and a sign of the world. From the moon is a sign of feasts, a light that decreaseth in her perfection. The month is called after her name,
Right.
increasing wonderfully in her change, being an instrument of the armies above, shining in the firmament of heaven.
So, like, what precept is that?
8.
Oh, sorry. Right. This lost track there, but go ahead.
The beauty of heaven, the glory of the stars, an ornament giving light in the highest places of the Lord. At the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order and never faint in their watches. So that go there into two things. One, whatever order the stars get set in is what they're gonna stay as, meaning like the Big Dipper gonna always be the Big Dipper. And I see the bottom right hand side, the Big Dipper moving in towards the center of the Big Dipper. You're never going to see that. And two, they say what they never faint in their watches. These stars we'll be seeing, well, these so-called stars we'll be seeing not moving, there's faint. There's blink on and off.
Yeah, they get brighter and they get dimmer as they please. Sometimes you'll be see them moving across the sky like that, and then you say, it disappear. That could never be a star, because as the brother beautifully brought out, he brought out the constellations. Have you ever seen the Big Dipper or the Little Dipper, or we just call it no, that as well, like a perfect example, the North Star always way. In the north. Why is that? Because it have a set order. Now the stars is moving, but it does move in that order.
Yeah,
they don't move
the Big Dipper gonna mean the Big Dipper
while it moving across the sky.
Like move the same way.
So what? When you look at how the chariots move, they move out of order. Why? Because they aren't stars. They just look like it from so far out. But it could never be a star because stars don't move like that. Example, you use the North Star. You never see the North Star in the south. The reason is called it the North Star. It have this one when you was out on the boat. The Leo, I think they just call it the Leo constellation, and we say and when we look at it, it really does look kind of like a lion. Yeah, when you look at our constellation, that does always look the same every time. Why? Because stars don't move out of order. They're always in the order. They're always in the watch. Which is
we know the earth will move.
So at the commandment of the Holy One, they will stand in their order. So what? We know them stars, where you call them shooting stars, or them stars where you see this moving across the sky, and you're saying that a satellite. No, that is a chariot. That could never be a satellite or a star. So what we're saying is, those aren't stars. They just look like them. Those are actually the chariots of a precept here.
I think I add two. Going back to Matthew 2 and 10. They say what Matthew 2 and 10, when they saw the star, they rejoiced with exceeding great joy. You know, like the thing. Yes, we're supposed to praise all the works of the Most High, for they are glorious, but we send up extra praises to the chariots. Whenever a man see a chariot, carry them like a how bashim or shy bashim or kaha kudash. Not that Ben go, thank the Lord for the star, for the moon, for the sun, and so on and so forth. But whenever we see a chariot, we just always rejoice exceedingly, because what shall I say in Luke, the 21st chapter, I believe it is.
We could get to that.
We get
there.
But I think it's send them level of praises when it's a chariot, because what we know the Lord coming. And them is signs that the Lord coming. The scripture even say, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Dismay being what? In sheer and utter confusion.
Confoundment in a confused state.
Exactly. So this isn't talking about a regular star.
It's not star.
This can never be talking about a regular star. They're likening chariots onto star because from that far they look like it. But this could never be talking about a regular star. Yeah, brother.
Yeah, 2 Esdras 6 and verses 40. Let's see.
6 and
45. Upon the fourth day thou commandest that the sun should shine and the moon give a light and the stars should be in order. So what? Those moving stars in the sky are not stars. They are chariots. But what else have these chariots been likened to in scripture? What else? Well, There, that one.
Let me not call them chariots, because that is what the scriptures like in them one too. We more so call them what people people would call
That
it
as
to
well.
be
UFOs.
UFOs, UPAs, or spaceships. A UFO being what an unidentified flying object, but it should really be an IFO because it has been identified.
According to the scriptures, we know what those are.
UPA, I believe, is unidentified.
I can't remember what the UPA stands for. Can. And I'm glad you bring out that one because this one is the perfect. In fact, let me read this in the NIV as well. Because as they bring out the UFO point, right? The chariots, the description, because if you could look up that as well, UFO flying saucer. Because that's the next thing people like to confuse these things with and say these things are, but they aren't those things. Let's see here.
So like a UAP, my apologies.
UAP. So like, yeah, UAP.
Yeah, unidentified anomalous phenomenon. Which is known as them things, but these things have been identified. Watch. And we went to the word UPA, U means we don't know what it is yet. Unidentified means we don't know what it is yet.
Right.
Anomalous means it behaves or appears unusual.
Right.
This means that the signs are heaven.
Anomalous, like what anomaly. So the chariots are an anomaly to the heathen because they are dismayed at it. Yeah.
And P is phenomenon. Avoids assuming it is a flying object or alien craft.
Ooh, but it's not. Well, if you go into the word alien, it means stranger.
And the scripture did say we will tell you they shall be amazed at the strangers of their
Like
salvation.
So what? I guess alien is a good adjective you could use to describe it. But when you think about aliens, like the big-eyed green dudes, that is not who driving them chariots, those vessels. That is not who inside of that. And we're going to prove that to you. But what? As I bring up the UFO point, if you could look up real quick image of let me say a flying saucer, or image of a UFO and show, and let me see what it is it look like. Let's see what I get here. Right? So I find it was the part to bring it up in the spirit because as soon as I started speaking about the UFO spaceships, that's the precept part on my mind from Ezekiel, right? Because what? If I could just get my Bible here, as I see the image on the screen there. There's Ezekiel chapter 9 and Ezekiel 10 from verses 9 because what? These things is what this here is what you could commonly think about when we say UFO or wherever. But that is not really a UFO. That is a chariot of the Lord, right? This is Ezekiel 9 and then I read from verses 10. Ezekiel 10, reading from verses 8 7.
Book of Ezekiel, chapter 10, you say verse 9?
Yeah. No, chapter 10, read verses 8.
Verse 8, right?
Yeah.
Ezekiel 10 and verse 8. They appeared in the cherubims the form of a man's hand under their wing.
Right.
And when I looked, behold, 4 wheels by the cherubims, one wheel by one cherub, another wheel by another cherub, and the appearance of the wheels as the color of a beryl stone.
So what he's describing here is what? He's describing the chariots, right? And he's saying wheel, and then he said what? There was the color of a beryl stone. Now I have the colors up here. Then I look up beryl stone color. And then the image I get that I downloaded, right? So you're just seeing that the beryl stones have many different colors. So we are saying as liking it to a beryl stone was to say that the chariot or the cherubim or the thing that he was seeing was what very colorful. So let me continue to hear the rest of the description, right? Go ahead.
Verse 10. As for their appearances, they four had one likeness, as if a wheel had been in the midst of a wheel.
Exactly what you commonly see when it is commonly depicted of what? A UFO.
Because whenever I see a UFO, you always see it spinning. One part or compartment of it will spin, like you say, left, and the next one will spin right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easy identifiable that you could liken this onto a wheel, because a wheel is spin.
Oh, and even then I get a better description as well, because if you could give me Ezekiel 1 and read from verses 15.
Ezekiel 1 and 15. Now, Ezekiel 1 and 15. Now, as I beheld the living creatures, behold, one wheel upon the earth by the living creatures with its four faces. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like unto the color of a beryl.
Right.
The four had one likeness, and their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel in the midst of a wheel.
So what? The wheel in the middle of our wheel, the wheel in the midst of our wheel. So they see it's in the same description here, right? Now peep game and wait till he gonna say extra in this chapter 1 that was not said in chapter 10. Go ahead.
17. And so when they went upon their four sides, and they turned not when they went.
So you know, like when you think about how human beings, if it is you had to go to your right, you had to literally go to your right.
Like move there, right?
No, I mean like literally go. I mean literally, like you say, I tell you, stand up and walk to your right. You have to turn to your right, literally turn 90 degrees. If you're facing forward, turn 90 degrees, and then literally walk to your right. These beings, these organisms, don't have to do that. They literally just like make a picture it like a shuffle or not even a shuffle, because it they go a fidgeting. So the shuffle they go one, then one, then one, them going straight. So it's hovering. Like it's literally like they just hover to the right. Angels just move like that when you read and they turn out which they went. That is verses 9 in the same chapter. The angels move like that, and the chariots move like that as well. They don't need to turn to the right to go to the right. They just go. So go ahead. So the word is not limited by the laws of physics. Go ahead.
Verse
18.
Verse 18. As for their wings, as for their rings,
Ooh.
they were so high that they were dreadful, and their rings were full of eyes round about
Eyes
them.
round about them. 4. So what? When you look at it, you see the let me say like light bulbs in the spacecraft, as them go call it. That is with eyes he's speaking about here.
Verse 14. We're jumping up to 14 in Ezekiel 1. And the living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of light.
So what the description and the movement is like literally is like more than just hovering across them, but it's like psh, 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 psh. They're just dashing across, and it's looking like they're just zapping. It's like you're not even seeing them moving, you're just seeing them here, and then you're seeing them the little in between till you see them move across to reach that point. You can't see that. That is how fast these vehicles, these vessels, these beings does move.
Because these things faster than the speed of light.
Ooh. So what? Again, they're not limited by the laws of physics, and as well, you're seeing here the eyes. What Ezekiel was talking about, it wasn't actual eyes, but what it was lights in the wheel that he was speaking about. So like they seen this image here looking like the light bulbs going around. That is what it is Ezekiel was seeing. So what Ezekiel describing here is actually a chariot. It's not a UFO, it's a chariot of the Lord. Right? So continuing. Yeah, that is it. So yeah, that is the description, right? So that is one of the first descriptions we would have had of these vessels. But we know not only are they likened to spacecrafts, or spacecrafts are likened to them, but they have also been likened to a lot of other things in the scriptures. They have been likened to clouds, stars, etc.
Horses, flying cheese.
Yeah. The horses are count, I believe, is where, but it's in Maccabees.
No, the cheese is not. The horse are count is Revelation. 19 and Revelation 6.
Well, let me get some because
About
I
14 as well.
because I have some here. They 2 Kings 11, and if we could get Revelation 1 and 7, Babu Kasha. The 2 Kings 11, and you're gonna read from 2 Kings 2 and verses 11. Verse 11.
The 2 Kings 2 and 11.
Right.
And it came to pass as they still went on and talked, and behold, there appeared a chariot of fire. Or they'll call it fire because that's the best way to describe light back in the day. Because all light is just fire at a certain level of form of fire. Because light does produce heat and fire is heat. And it came to pass as they went, as they still went on and talked, that behold, there appeared a chariot of fire and horses of fire, and parted them both asunder, and Elijah went up by a whirlwind into heaven.
So what that's speaking about? That's speaking about the chariots, this whirlwind. That is the chariots of the Lord. I don't know again, I don't know Bible. So that where Elijah went into heaven with is a chariot. So what else have they been likened to? We're seeing here whirlwind. We're seeing here horses of fire. Where else we see? Well, they Revelation 1 and verses 7.
Now the Acts 1 kind of back up.
Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so, amen. Go ahead.
That's Acts 1 and 9. And when he had spoken these things, being Yahushai, while they beheld, he was taken up, and a cloud received them out of their sight.
Right, so what? A cloud received them out of his sight. So the same, I think even reading in the continue, it's in same like manner.
Yeah.
Right.
And while they looked steadfast towards heaven as he went up, behold, 2 men stood by them in white apparel, and these 2 men as angels. And while which also said, ye men of Galilee, while stand ye gazing up into heaven,
Right.
this same Yahushai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in a like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. And later we know this can't be talking about actual cloud, actual chariot, actual horse, because they say ye now leave in a cloud and come back in a cloud. But when you read Revelation, or read the account in 6, but 19 is the better account.
Yeah, good. 19 is 11. Yep, 1911. Right?
Revelation 19 and 11, I saw heaven open, behold a white horse.
Right.
Now we're going to this white horse. White could just mean represent purity, and horse is power. Precept in
As
Job.
thou given the horse strength. Right.
But the horse here that representing power, and white representing purity.
Right.
And he that sat upon him was called faithful and true, and in righteousness that he judge and make war. His eyes was a flame of fire, and his head were many crowns. And he had a name written that no man knew but he himself. And he was clothed in a vesture dipped in blood, and his name is called the Word of God. And the armies which were in heaven followed upon white horses, clothed in fine linen, white and clean. And then you notice referring to Yahushua, the armies referring to the hosts and angels. So like, you now see coming a cloud, here see coming a horse. Where you really coming?
Ooh, so what given 2 different descriptions of the same account of what it is he's coming on. So what is that? It would have to be a chariot. And how we know this as well, Psalms 105 verses 3, who laid the beams of his chambers in the waters, who maketh the clouds his chariot, who walketh upon the wings of the wind. So what? The Lord just say he made clouds the chariots. So what? The chariots can be likened to many different things, as brother beautifully brought out. They have been likened to horses as well. So what are they? Because again, as I said, the perfect identifier. He's coming back with a chariot or with a cloud supposedly, but then it say he coming with horses. So what I mean? He coming with chariots. He's not coming with actual horses, coming down out of heaven, no unicorn fuckery. He's not coming down on no literal cloud. He coming back here with a chariot. Our precept here is on the book of Psalms 68 and verses 17. The chariots of power are 20,000, even thousands of angels. Yahweh Shai is among them, as in Sinai in the holy place.
I jump over verse 34 on them.
Verses 34, ascribe ye strength unto our power, his excellencies over Israel, and his strength is in the clouds. So what? The events that would have happened during the Exodus. What caused those events? The pillar of smoke, the cloud of fire by day. Pillars is the cloud of fire by night and pillar of smoke by day. That kept.
Pillar of fire.
Pillar.
By night.
So like, let me
Pillar
get.
of fire by night and the cloud of smoke by day.
By night. Let me see it. So like, I can't butcher that one. Right. Exodus 13:21, and the Lord went before them by day in a pillar of a cloud to lead them by the way, and by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day. 13:21-22. To give them, by night in a pillar of fire to give them light to go by day and night. And verses 22, we took not away the pillar of the cloud by day, nor the pillar of fire by night from before the people. And even when you read that story in Exodus, it also explains what this pillar of fire or this cloud that was by them by day, pillar of fire by night. When you read that story in Exodus, it also said what? That it kept at bay the Egyptians. So what? When he said, as in Sinai in the holy place, what was the Lord with or on or in during the time of the Exodus in Sinai? And we know this Lord here can't be referring to Yahweh because he don't leave his throne. So who was that? Questions, and I don't think the Christians could get the answers. They can't. So come on, those that have to be speaking about chariots. But I just had one other point to make in 68 and verses 17, where it says, even thousands of angels.
Psalm 16, right?
17.
Psalm 16 and 16,
yeah. Right, what? Even thousands of angels, right? And we know even in Old English is used as what? An identifier. So what? The people of Israel, even the people of Jacob, really speaking about the same people. The people of Israel is the people of Jacob.
And the people of Israel, even the saints and the Most High.
Right. When you read 1 Corinthians 15, which I'll show you that precept we could bring up, where it say, delivered up the kingdom to power, God, even the Father. God is the Father. That is why that even is there. So what? When it says 20,000, even thousands of angels, these chariots are literally a part of the hosts of the Lord. When you would have did the part, when you would have said what the Lord is known as the Lord of hosts, or hosts being Tazabah in Hebrew, heaven's armies, the chariots are numbered among and are as counted as the angels as well. Just wanted to make that point. So that's our next thing they have been identified as in Scripture. I just wanted to read now Zechariah 5. But you could go ahead.
Don't read that.
Don't read it yet?
Yeah, hold on. I'm going to read this first. Say Malachi, actually, I feel this should come in for a later point. We're talking about the weapons that we got, right?
Yeah.
They're coming for later.
Or for the weapons part.
Yeah.
Because we have more points as well to make because what we understand so far, there's not satellites or shooting stars. We understand that they have been described in scripture and have been linked or likened to many things in scripture. And Ezekiel even gave the account of calling it or basically describing it as what we know today as a UFO. So what are the points of these vehicles, these vessels that the Lord has? Well, they have a lot of uses to the Lord, especially prophetically in these last days. They are his means of salvation. There's a book of Isaiah 26 and verses 20. Right? Isaiah 26:20. Come, my people, enter thou into thy chambers. Chambers of what? Chambers that had to be inside or something, right? And shut thy doors about thee. Definitely had to be inside something. Hide thyself as it were for a little moment until the indignation be overpast. So what we know as it pertains to salvation for the nation of Israel, and more specifically salvation for the elect, is what they are being saved from. Because we know they're going to be saved ultimately from the coming destruction,
Which
as
end up being, I think, this part 3 of the series you're doing.
which is what we're going to bring that destruction toward the upper point, which is what? This indignation be overpassed with the Lord's righteous anger. So there's going to be a destruction as a result of the Lord being pissed off that he has to bring to a certain land, which is things we're going to get into in part 3, but it have people who set to survive that very self-same destruction. So being that that is the case, how are they going to survive it? Well, is it chariots? If you give me now, Revelation.
I want to, you could get a revelation. I want to,
Yeah.
Book of Habakkuk chapter 3, and verse 8.
This
Was
one. Yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to get.
Verse 8. Was the Lord Yahweh Shem Shai displeased against the rivers?
Ooh.
Was thy anger against the rivers? Was thy wrath against the sea? That thou didst ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation.
Ooh, ride upon thine horses and thy chariots of salvation. Again, your papa point linking in the chariots to horses as well. But what? Chariots of salvation. This is the tool, or these are the tools that the Lord is going to use to save and deliver his elect from the coming destruction. There is Revelation chapter 11 and verses 12. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, Come up hither. So the same sentiment, same statement that was echoed in Isaiah 26:20. And they ascended up into heaven in a cloud. So we know there's a chariot, and the enemies beheld them.
Our next one in Revelation 18.
Be not partakers of our sins. I think
Yeah,
it's
no, that Revelation 18 and 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, Come up out of her, my people,
right?
that he be not partakers of her sins, and that he receive not of her plagues.
Which these plagues speaking about again that indignation of the Lord. And where it speak about the vials being filled up and all these things. So what? Come up out of her, my people, but come up and go where?
Come up into what?
It had to be in the chariots, because what? Be not partakers of our sins, right? And it even said what? And their enemies beheld them. Wisdom of Solomon 5. How is he accounted? So what they're going to be like, wait, like, he ain't saved? What the fuck going on here? Why he getting saved? And what it is going to save them? Because what? The strangeness of his salvation. If I could find a piece of him about Kasha.
Wisdom of Solomon 3 and 5. 6, 5.
Nah.
Yes, Wisdom of Solomon 5 and start from 5. Sorry, from 1. Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him,
Right.
and made no account of his labors,
Right.
when they see it, that it be in the chariots.
Right. Which is so like this precept again is Wisdom of Solomon 3:5.
5, 5, 1.
5-1 Salak, right?
They shall be troubled with terrible fear.
Right.
And shall be amazed at the
Strangeness of his salvation. Come
so
on.
far beyond all that they look for.
So what? They're not looking for this, which is a Yapa point to bring out, because again, you're gonna bring it out in Luke 21:28. You have to look for this. These are Psalms 91 and verses 8, because what? They're gonna be astonished and amazed at the strangeness of his salvation. In Revelation 18, Revelation 11:12, what? Be not partakers of her plagues, these things, and then what? And their enemies beheld them, right? They Psalms 91 and verses 8. Only with thine eyes shall thou behold and see the reward of the wicked. But how you can see that with your eyes? Or you can't stand up in the reward and see it? No, you're going to have a bird's eye view.
Keep reading.
So like, verses 9. Verses 9, because thou hast made Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, which is my refuge, even the Most High, thy habitation. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling, for he shall give his angels charge over thee to keep thee in all thy ways. Funny, right?
Verse 12.
They shall bear thee up in their hands, lest thou dash thy foot against a stone.
And the same thing, Yahushua said, Matthew 24 chapter, Matthew 24 and 30, you send out the angels to the 4 quarters.
You guys can bring now and
yeah.
Because what? That's not. That's want to see where's the point here, right? Because they're not gonna be, if you're a part of the elect, in the fire, witnessing the fire and witnessing destruction. They're gonna have a bird's eye view of it. What? Bear thee up in thy hands, right? Well, what did Matthew 24 say about this same account? Because in Matthew 24, I'm reading from verses 27. For as lightning cometh out of the east, funny enough you say lightning, because what? The Son of Man come not in an hour when ye least expect. And then what? Is we'd have just read that the chariots move as fast as lightning. Faster than lightning, right?
Speed of light, because them nuclear missiles, so you get to in the third part of the video, but the nuclear missiles moving at the speed of light.
Ooh, fast, hypersonic speeds. So what?
I think it's Mach, I don't know.
It's a fast speed as they can bring it up, because what? It's gonna have to be something that's gonna be very fast, faster than a missile that is going to be able to save and deliver you from the destruction that is to come. And if that is to be the case, that something have to be very, very fast. So the scriptures say, if the righteous scarcely be saved, it can be a, when you're watching them horse races and them is furlong by furlong, is literally neck and neck. It's a neck and neck salvation, right as is boom, 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 boom. Right as the destruction coming for that land, then you go and see men just had a beam up all over the place. The righteous will really scarcely be safe, as the scriptures say. But go ahead.
So, I'm not getting anything we're looking for. You could go ahead.
Right. So, continue now. So, Matthew 24 verses 27. For as lightning cometh out of the east, and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And again, he is coming in the chariots. And what? It is every eye shall see. We're going to see him from the west all to the east. Everybody going to see the Son of Man coming. What it is? It's going to be an event that's going to block out. But then shall the sun be darkened. The moon shall not give her light.
Exactly. Every time they get the ICBMs are faster than the speed of light. My apologies. They're faster than the speed of sound. And the speed of light faster than the speed of
sound. So what? You have to beat the sound bar. You have to save the elect.
Exactly.
And only one vessel, or only vessels, as these scriptures bring it out, is only the chariots could be able to beat that. Right? ICBMs?
ICBMs, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right, used for long-range nuclear delivery. Top speed is about 6 to 7 kilometers per second. That's roughly 22,000 to 25,000 kilometers per hour, 14,000 to 15,005 miles per hour. But the speed of light is 300,000 kilometers per second.
So speed of light and these chariots moving fast and the speed of light. Speed of light are bound by physical reality and all these things. Chariots not don't have them. So what? Again, the chariots have no limitations based on this physical realm. They are not limited. So what they will deliver and save the elect. They Matthew 24 and 28. For wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Carcass meaning the elect, because what? Your life, you are dead and your life is hidden in Mashiach, Colossians 3:3. So what? The elect dead to this world, which is they love not the life until death. So the elect is this carcass here being referenced. And what? There will the eagles be gathered together. So what? Like vultures in the sky that just gather around dead bodies, right? Well, these angels definitely gonna gather around these dead bodies, and these dead bodies is the elect. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun.
As soon as Jacob's trouble is done. Because
Right.
this is right at the culmination of Jacob's trouble. How Jacob's trouble is going to end.
And the last precept, well, last two precepts we are back that, right? And shall the sun be darkened again? The chariot is literally going to be so big that it is bigger than the earth. It's going to block all the sky. Wait, is the news article recently last year, the 7-mile long chariot or spacecraft they say heading towards the earth at an astronomical speed.
Yes.
What?
I can't remember what it's calling it. Can't remember what it's calling it.
But
yeah.
what or who is that? Well, because I know in second Ezra it speak about what the hill graven.
Yeah. And you couldn't see the end there.
Yeah, so you couldn't see the end of this mountain that this man flew upon. And what? He graved himself a great mountain. So what? It had the end of it. You couldn't see where the end of it was. So that had to be something bigger than the earth. Had to be. And the moon shall not give a light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man, which is what the sign is literally the chariot. When you see that, you know the Son of Man arrived.
No, the angel said it in Acts 1 and 11 in the same manner. They say in the same manner shall we shall
Right. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, which is going to be the final point we're going to make. Why is the return of the Son of Man going to make the earth mourn? And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send, now the point where we is bringing out to the angels, going to beam up the men. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet. So again, these angels is the chariots, because what is the chariots of salvation? And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven, even the other. So we know this have to be speaking about the chariots. Is the chariots we're going to save the elect. And we know this is his means of salvation, because what? If you could pull Luke 21:28, I'll just have a quick precept to bring before that. Because what you make the point, he was making the point about the end. Well, no, he was making the point of after the tribulation of those days, right? Because what, that he coming at the height and the end of Jacob's trouble, and what the final stand for Babylon and nuclear destruction, right? That is really the end of this time, because when he returns, it is the end of this time. Then First Corinthians 15. And we're going to read from verses 23. But every man in his own order, a Mashiach. Verse 22. For in Adam all die, even so in Mashiach shall all be made alive. Right?
Because we know it's 3 hours shall Mashiach anybody go and live out of this, or be saved out of this.
Right.
Adam is the reason we get all of this, but Yahushua can be the reason we get out. And if you understand, Yahushua and Adam is the same person.
But every man in his own order, Mashiach, the first fruits, afterward they that Mashiach, that are Mashiachs, at his coming, then cometh Mashiach Yom, at his coming, then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to power, even the Father Yahweh, when he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. So showing you what? This here, this is the end and what he's going to deliver up the kingdom. How is he going to bring them up? Because we know Revelation 22 talk about New Jerusalem coming down. So what? How are they going up? It's the chariots he's going to use. If you could read that Luke 21:28.
From 27, Luke 21, 27.
Right.
It's like, and then shall they see the Son of Man coming in a cloud with power and great glory.
A chariot.
And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for redemption draweth nigh.
So what? The salvation of the elect draweth nigh when you see this sign in heaven, this chariot, this great cloud. So what? We need to know as a man of the elect, a hopeful elect, and then we know it have elect watching this, and the elect would be watching this. You cannot enter this vessel as a mortal man. Because what? We understand that this is what's going to save you. But how are you really going to be saved when you're in there? You're not going to be in your fleshly body. There's Romans 8 and verses 20. Romans 8 and verses 20. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who subjected the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of power. So what this immortal must put on immortality, as 1 Corinthians 15 puts it. And what? Second is just say, when this corruption shall inherit incorruption. That is 2 is 8, I believe. If I could see that real quick, is either 2 is 8 or 2 is 7. No, well then if I quote back to 1 Corinthians, but I know Ezra so I make the same sentiment. Yeah, this no. Where's that boy? That is 2 Ezra 7.
Yeah, 2 Ezra 7 from 43.
Right, there is 2 Ezra 7 from verses 43. But the day of judgment shall be the end of this time. I read it from, my book of it, written and kind of different to how the hardcover apocrypha of it. But the day of judgment shall be the end of this time again, so then coming the end, and the beginning of the time of the future immortality, in which the temporal shall be past. So to enter into that chariot, you have to put off that corruption. And it will be shed off of you. You can't be in this physical vain body and enter into something as holy as a chariot. The intemperance shall be abolished. Right, well, that you get the point there, right? So we have one more precept here in this Romans 7 and verses 15. For that which I do, I allow not. For that what I would, that I do not. But what I hate, that I do. Showing you what? In fact, I'm jumping down to verses 18 here. For I know that in me, that is in my flesh, dwelleth no good thing. And what? Psalms 1 prayed, the ungodly shall not enter into the congregation of the righteous. Dwelleth no good thing, for to will is present with me, but how to perform that which is good, I find not. For the good that I would do, I do not, but the evil which I would not, that I do. Showing you what the state of this body can enter and be in the presence of the Lord. That's why we say, who shall change our vile body and fashion it to his glorious body? And even we know not yet what we shall be, but we know when he shall appear, we shall be like him. So what these vessels going to change upon the entrance of that chariot, Lord willing, you be a part of the elect. So what? Now the high point of this video to bring out and keep him with the series. These chariots are his means of destruction, because these chariots are going to play a part in the final judgment that this planet has to receive upon the coming of the Son of Man.
I'm just saying the planet more so.
The land, I know what I mean in terms of that new earth, new heaven, new everything. So everything
Because,
old, so that
so I'm going to cut you off the Chariots when every answer in the judgment everywhere. So,
so
yeah, yeah.
right. So these chariots gonna play a big part in the destruction that this earth has to face. So it is out of the old in the new, the end of Esau world and the beginning of Jacob's world. The end of Esau world very much has to do with the coming of Yahweh, and these chariots gonna have the part to play in it. There's a book on Nahum. Salak.
1 and 9.
Nah, not 9. Yeah, okay, 9 good too, but I was going from verse 3, boy. 3.
3.
Nahum 1 and 3. The Lord is slow to anger and great in power, and will not at all acquit the wicked. Yahweh hath his way in the whirlwind and in the storm, and the clouds are the dust of his feet. He rebuketh the sea and maketh it dry, and drieth up all the rivers of Bashan. Drieth up all the rivers. Bashan languisheth, and Carmel and the flower of Lebanon languisheth. The mountains quake at him, and the hills melt, and the earth is burned at his presence, yea, the world and all that dwell therein. Who can stand before his indignation, and who can abide in the fierceness of his anger? His fury is poured out like fire, and the rocks are thrown down by him. The Lord is good, a stronghold in the day of trouble, and he knoweth them that trust in him. But an overrunning flood he will, but with Tawada, an overrunning flood he will make an utter end of the place thereof, and darkness shall pursue his enemies. What do ye imagine against Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai? He will make an utter end. Affliction shall not rise up the second time. So showing you what? These chariots gonna have the play in the destruction of this, where it is, brother, GMS, the basics, is present temporal evil world. The Lord's chariots are going to play their part in destroying this world as you know it. Not, the world in terms of the sense of the literal planet, but the rulership, the kingdom, the dominion is going to be brought down, and these chariots are going to play their part in it.
Wait a second, just 6
There,
9.
right?
For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that would follow it. And read down in the New English Bible, it says Esau is the end of this time, and Jacob is the beginning of the time that will come hereafter. Roughly paraphrasing, but the planet itself will be fully destroyed, but there are places that have to get judgment for all the wickedness that has been done in it, and the chariots have a big part to play in that, and only that, the people as well, because Esau Edom gonna be the head nation and get fucked up. The other nations gonna get fucked up, and not only the other nations, but the wicked of the nation of Israel gonna get fucked up, and they nothing new. The book of Numbers, chapter 11 and verse 1, and when the people complained, it displeased the Lord Yahweh, and the Lord Yahweh heard it, and his anger was kindled, and the fire of the Lord Yahweh burnt among them, and consumed them that were in the uttermost parts of the camp. And we used to that in our chariot, because it was in one Mount Sinai being the chariot, and then they would fuck up and go against the Lord. Zap.
Laser beams.
Zap.
So it is unbeautifully bring out that, because what? That the same thing if we did read Lord down in Isaiah 66 in the beginning, because what? He will plead with all flesh, the slain of the Lord shall be many. That wilderness experience coming back when the Lord returning it.
Because again to that word plead,
Judge.
really, I mean judgment, because shall not come in here to beg on here. The scripture don't say it, he don't stretch forth here all day long time.
Rebellious and it's rebellious and wicked.
I can't remember what it's like. It's some damn rebellious people.
House.
Stretch for me, get that precept. Stretched. Stretch for me.
Nah, check Isaiah.
Yes, yeah. Let's see, guys. I'm finding the precept now. I can't see. Alright, spread, my apologies. Spread Isaiah 6 and 2, 65 and 2. I spread out my hands all day until rebellious people which walk it in a way that was not good after their own thoughts.
Right.
The people are provoking me to anger continually to my face, that sacrifice it in garments and burning incense upon altars of brick, which remain among the graves and lodge in the mountain monuments, which eat swine's flesh
Right.
and broth of abominable things in their vessels, which say, stand by thyself, come not near to me, for I am holier than thou. These are a smoke in my nose and a fire that burneth all day. So the Lord done talking. And he come here just judgment.
Yeah, no more time to talk. It's just judgment. And we know that's going to be the scene. Going to be a bloody scene when the Lord return. Well, hot blood was up to the horses' bridles. Yeah, I'm second as just 13. Because what we know, the Lord, when he comes, he's going to take the kingdom. Daniel 2:44, the kingdom shall not be left to other people. Daniel 7:18,
Saints and the Most High shall take the kingdom and
possess it forever, even forever and ever. And what?
1 Corinthians 15.
Right. So what we know, the kingdom of the earth is going to become or belong to the Lord when he's done. And what the chariots are going to aid this is 2 Ezra 13. I'm going to read from verses 9. You could read up from verses 5 if you're, in fact, you could read from verses 1, but we don't want to read all that. They verses 9, right? I'll read from verses 8. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet this fight. Now you have to understand prophecy. When the Lord returns, he's set to return to an earth that has been majorly microchipped, as pursuant to Revelation 13, 16 to 18, calls it all, small, great, rich, poor, to receive that mark.
Right, and the forwards.
Right.
Who take the mark shall be killed.
Right. And what? And we know he's coming to administer the judgment for taking that mark, taking on that another God unto yourself. Which is on Revelation 14, verses 9 to 10. He shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. So what? The fire and brimstone as well as the nukes, which we're going to get into in part 3. But what? The fire and brimstone is also the laser beams that shall issue forth out of the chariot. We know that because they were based on verses 9. And lo, as another point, not just administer the judgment for taking that microchip, that MOTB, but also what? He's coming here at the height of World War III. He's gonna come and meet the world in a very perilous, precarious position. So what? He's gonna come and meet soldiers ready to fight, but he's gonna be ready to fight back. Based on verses 9. He no longer coming here like a lamb, but what as a conquering lion. Revelation 6 says what? He's coming and he goeth forth conquering and to conquer.
His head with many crowns.
And verses 9. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came against him, he neither lifted up his hand, nor had he a shield or any instrument of war. When you read the normal translation, it said, nor held any sword nor any instrument of war. But I only saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, which does not describe him himself. He's not going to literally come here fire breathing. No, he's coming here and the chariot is going to issue the fire.
Because what he just want to give the command.
Right.
Kill them all and done.
Kill them all and done. Flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests. And they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flaming breath, and the great tempest. and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight. So again, he's gonna come at the height of World War III, and he's gonna meet them all in what? In the battle of Armageddon in the valley of Jehoshaphat, because because what they're gonna face Jehoshaphat, Yahweh's judgment, which was prepared to fight and burn them up everyone, so that upon a saddle of an innumerable multitude, nothing was to be perceived but only dust and smell of smoke. When I saw this, I was afraid. So what? Will I make the point what makes the angels a perfect weapon of the Lord? Because there's ultimate killing machines and the perfectly obedient and all these things. What makes the chariots the perfect weapon of the Lord as well? They bring mass destruction. They could literally destroy a whole land if the Lord give.
They destroy 5 cities, Sodom and Gomorrah.
That what the Lord used to bring the judgment to Sodom and Gomorrah. So what? If you believe that or not, that's up to you. Whether the Lord impart the faith on you or not. So what? These chariots, these UFOs, UAPs, whatever you want to call them, these clouds, these stars, as the Bible would liken them to, where Ezekiel say a wheel within a wheel. All these things are what the Lord is going to use to administer the judgment to the earth when his son comes. And there is what? This has been part 2 of what the weapons of the Lord. Being what? The second weapon, or the second category of weapon, the chariots. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying, and that you were edified. In closing, like to say, Kal Halal Yamla Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rakha Kodash, Barakatum, like to give double honors, double unto the apostles and elders of great millstone, surely doing well. To the men standing by the highways and byways, pushing this doctrine, like to say, Shalom. And even unto the sincere Aqua, the sisters who sit, listen to these lessons in silence, subjection, and obedience unto their husbands, we like to say, Shalom. This was your brothers, Wa Maya Sha'ala. Until next time, we say Shalom.